St. Petersburg, welcome to WPLP.
Young man, let me tell you something right now. I come down here every year, and I've been coming down here for 24 years, and I in my entire life have never heard such an outrageous, outlandish person on a show.
Well, thank you.
You should be reported to the Chamber of Commerce or the FCC. I am going to write letters to the superiors.
Oh, sir, that's not necessary. Sir, that's not necessary. I have already received accommodations, or commendations, rather, from Chamber of Commerce.
I spent $800 to get down here. Alice is listening, and she is not very appreciative of what you've been doing here.
Who's not very appreciative? Who's not very appreciative?
She's very upset.
Who's upset, sir?
She's very upset.
Who is upset?
My wife is very upset, and so am I.
Well, why didn't she call?
I don't like this at all. You've got no business talking about us this way. We go to the vegetable markets almost every other day.
I'll bet you do.
I never squeeze fruit. I spent a lot of
How about
money.
vegetables, though?
I spent a lot of money down here. You have no right speaking of us in this matter. I had my car service here. I've had my car service here twice since I've been here.
I know, sir, and every time you come down here, about 40 of us have to have our cars serviced.
You've got no business talking about us in this manner. We are supporting you people. Don't you understand? If we quit coming down here, you'll be out of a job, sir. And I will report you, and I've heard about you before in the trailer parks. What's so funny about that, buddy?
You mean my fame has spread to the trailer parks?
What is so funny about living in a trailer park?
Nothing, sir.
I'm living in an Airstream right now, and I don't think it's very funny about the...
Wait a second. You come down here from where was that, Iowa?
I've come all the way down here.
From Iowa?
Come all the way down
Dragging
here.
A trailer? Dragging a trailer? And you're not even staying in a motel. And you think you're supporting me?
I am supporting you and your service. You've got no...
Sir, there aren't any... there aren't any Airstream factories in Tampa Bay.
I fought for you. And I come back to this country, and what do I have to listen to? Some young hippie. Some young hippie such as yourself.
Well, sir, I can well understand why you would think that a 41-year-old man was a young hippie, but that's neither here nor there.
I bet you've got a convertible and a surfboard hanging out the back. I bet you do.
No, sir, it's a Woody with a surfboard hanging out the back.
Too.
On drugs?
Are you on drugs, sir? I bet you use marijuana and all this kind of stuff. I bet you live a very loose lifestyle.
What kind of a lifestyle?
A very loose lifestyle.
Very loose.
I'm listening to you every night, and you've got to remember this, that we might stay here.
Oh, my God! You might stay here?
I might report you. I'm going to report you to the
Trailer Park Association.
I'm going to write management a letter, and you won't like it. You'll be very afraid.
Sir, my name is Lassiter. That's Lassiter, care of the Lassiter Broadcasting Company.
You're in trouble now.
No, sir, I own the station.
You're in trouble now.
No, I own the place. My mother bought it.
And I've heard about the way you talk about our president, and I think it's a disgrace.
Why don't you write him a letter?
I have written him many letters.
Hasn't done you a damn bit of good, has it?
I don't like the way you talked about Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. Me and my wife stayed at the resort for 2 weeks, and we had a lovely and various enjoyment time.
Would you park your Airstream there, or just stay in a hotel room there?
We stayed in a hotel room
Figures.
there. And we're going to go back, and I will help support his ministry.
Great.
You have done a disservice.
But you'll leave tonight.
God, I have never heard anyone lambaste the ministers and a nation such as this in my entire life, sir.
Well, you're lucky you've heard somebody do it now.
I'm going to write a letter to the manager. I'm going to write a letter
That's
to...
Mrs. Lassiter, Lassiter. That's the manager's name, Mrs. Lassiter.
In the phone book.
That's right, it's in the phone book.
Now you're making me scream, and you're making me scream and holler.
That's one of the things I do best.
Sir, why do you carry on in this manner? This is a very, very outlandish and monstrous tactic you're using.
You got it.
This is not right. Why don't you help the old people? Why don't you help us?
Sir, I'd like to help you out. Which way did you come in?
Sir, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to write you a letter. and you will receive this letter, and you won't like it. I'm going to write more than one letter. I'm going to write the station. I'm going to write the Chamber of Commerce. I, too, will write the Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce will be flooded with letters.
Will you put a lot of kisses at the bottom?
I bet you have a surfboard, don't you? I bet you wear short cut-off jeans and sandals and beads and probably wear sunglasses all the time. And I bet you haven't shaved in 3 months.
It's closer to 3 years, sir.
Last time you had a shave.
About 3 years ago.
Are you married or are you living in sin?
Little of each.
You continue to outrage us.
Well, thank you.
You continue to tell the whole world, the whole public here, that you're living in sin, that's monstrous. I give 10% of pay to the PTL Club, and I will continue to write to PTL.
Oh, Jim's living in sin.
And I am going
to send me 10% too?
I am going to write a letter to the PTL Club and tell them what you've been saying about them. And you may hear from the PTL Club.
Sir, we've tried to get them on the show before. They won't come on.
You're in trouble now. You're in trouble now.
Well, sir, I guess I'll just have to wax up my board and go with the flow, you know?
I'm going to stay here. I'm going to call the police.
We're all in trouble now.
I'll call the police on you. I mean it. I'm serious.
Whoa there. You're going to call the police?
I'm threatening you now, sir. You've got me upset. I'll call the police. I swear I'll call the police. Do you want me to call the police on you? You think it's funny? I will call the police.
Do I think it's funny? Do I think it's funny? Are you kidding me?
Be afraid, aren't you?
Are you pulling my leg?
Sir, I'll lock you up. I'll have you locked up, sir. Look, you can't do this.
That's the greatest call I've ever had in my entire career.
You think that you're
It's probably the greatest call ever to talk radio.
Laughing, you think by laughing that you're showing me that you're not afraid. You're all afraid. I know it.
Oh, God.
I've got 5 letters to write, sir.
5 letters now. Oh, my goodness. You got a busy night ahead of you.
I'm going to start right now.
Okay.
Have a bad night. Hippie.
Dr. Mueller, what do you think?
Oh, that was quite a call. I think that you really upset this guy. I think you really had him going. He sounds like a very conservative, very traditional person, very rigid standards. I kind of found myself wondering how you can spend $800 driving down here in an Airstream.
Well, it's stopping at a lot of expensive motels on the way, I guess.
Yeah.
Long drive from Iowa.
But I heard him kind of get into what a lot of people do when they don't like someone. They assume if they don't like you, then you probably do all kinds of other things they don't like, use drugs and wear beads, and you're a hippie and probably anti-God and country and everything else. And I think that may well be his image of you, that you're one of these, crazy liberals from California with your surfboard tucked under your arm and everything that he really despises and has no respect for. But I think the guy really got upset with you. I think you really had him going. I would guess his blood pressure was up and his heart was racing.
Well, that's what I would have thought, too. I would have bet my paycheck on it. It turns out, a couple of weeks after we received this call, it turns out that was not an old man. It was a caller that we referred to on this program as Rocky, the Rock and Roll Klansman. Now, Rocky finally... Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Rocky had been banned from the program as well. He was one of the Magnificent Seven. And Rocky doesn't call that often, perhaps once every 2 or 3 weeks, but nonetheless, he likes to have it as an outlet, and he was apparently a little miffed at me. So he started developing characters to get through, and Mr. Airstream was one of the characters. But unfortunately, when he finally fessed up to being Mr. Airstream, when I let him back on the program, it has now caused me to challenge and question as to whether or not Rocky is really Rocky. Because Rocky is a very outrageous character, too. He pretends to be or portends to be, a Ku Klux Klansman. Do you think
I think that's a good suspicion to have. This guy may be an amateur actor. getting a little airtime, having a great time playing a role. And he may play lots of roles with you. He's obviously good at it.
How can I draw him out? When he calls up as Rocky?
Really like?
Yeah, how can I find out if Rocky's a fraud?
I don't know. Have you checked to find out how much he knows about the Klan? Is he pretty well informed?
He would appear to be.
But then he might
from
study.
my knowledge.
Right, he might study his subject well. I would guess you'd have to somehow push his button and get him out of character, but I would think that'd be pretty tough with this guy. If he can stay in, I've forgotten how long that last call was.
8 minutes.
He can stay in character that long, even though he's angry with you, and clearly doesn't agree with you or get along with you. I would think that you're going to have a tough time figuring out who he really is.
Well, Rocky is, again, one of these people that we invited to come in on many occasions, actually, not just for my vacation, but to come in as an actual guest. And has said on the air that he would, but then when it came time to make the arrangements, he was just never available. Why would somebody want the airtime so much as to go through all of that trouble to get through on a call and yet not come in to have 3 or 4 hours with me to spout any philosophy he wanted to?
Well, that's a pretty threatening thing for most lay people. Now, if this guy's really into acting, I'd be surprised that he wouldn't have taken you up on it, just to kind of be on stage. But on the other hand, you're a pretty bright guy. You're clearly above average, and I would guess you're a fairly intimidating kind of opponent to have to debate with. The people can always hang up. They can prepare whatever they want to say. When they get tired of you, they can go away. Or you can hang up on them. But if you're locked in a studio with somebody for an hour or two, that's a little bit more threatening.
Dr. Mueller, I'm fresh out of time for this hour. Could I beg you to stay with me into the next hour?
On your knees.
On my knees it'll be.
Okay.
All right, the CBS News coming up at the top of the hour. We shall be back at about 6.5 minutes after 10 with my guest, Dr. Lois Mueller. We'll take some phone calls from you people, too, and we'll also check in with a few more classic callers. Don't go far.
They'll be talking about him tomorrow morning in trailer court recreation halls all over Tampa Bay. But you can listen to him live tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Bob Lassiter.
Well, you can also listen to me on tape as we're going through some of the best of callers with my guest, clinical psychologist, Dr. Lois Mueller. Dr. Mueller, have we heard from any people tonight that should be seeking your services?
No, not necessarily. They don't sound like they're suffering too badly. I think probably a lot of these people are lonely, and talk radio kind of fills a void for them. And probably being able to challenge you in a harmless kind of way gives them a way to vent. But I don't necessarily hear anything that concerns me too much.
Let's take some phone calls if you would like to play along with Dr. Mueller or critique, whatever, agree. 2 lines open, 1 in each county. Hillsborough, 224-0057. Pinellas, 393-0057. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at WPLP.
Well, hello, Bobby Joe. I'd like to speak to Dr. Mueller. Doctor, are you there?
I sure am.
I called you once about a problem that had to do with father being too much, loving his wife so much that he mistreated his child because of loving the mother most.
Well, I understand, but what does that have to do with what we're doing tonight?
I think that's your problem, Bob.
No, I don't have a problem. Clearwater, you're on the air at WPLP.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I just
We
got
didn't
back.
disturb you, did we?
So you're going to hang up and I got so fast. Dr. Mueller?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember you from several years ago.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you do.
Yeah, and you were very good. I think you were duped to come into the studio tonight.
Duped?
Duped? Yeah, because I think what you're sitting there listening to is the Bob Lassiter, I don't know what you want to call it, a gratification of himself, listening of his tapes of these people that just keep calling in. You know, that tape of the guy with
Mr. Airstream.
Winnebago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
He's only played that thing around 5 or 6 times.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. How many times have you played that, Bob?
About 5 or 6 times,
Yes,
as you
in
just
the
said.
morning, and you keep playing that thing. And here you got Dr. Lois Mueller in there, and you haven't given her any credit. It's a shame what you've done to that woman. Why would you do that to that woman?
What do you mean he hasn't given me any credit?
Put you in there as a dupe.
Do you feel duped, Dr. Miller?
No, I don't feel duped.
You feel duped? Well, you should feel duped.
Okay.
Because, Bob has done a lousy thing to you. He's just brought you in there as a, I don't know what you want to call it.
Maybe he brought me into...
He's run that tape of that man. It's just ridiculous what he's doing to you.
Why do you keep listening to this guy?
Why do I keep listening to him?
Yeah. Obviously, you've heard the tape all 5 times. Tell me why you keep listening to him.
That's a good question. I enjoy talk radio. I enjoy it.
Despite Bob Lassiter.
Well, I enjoy Bob Lassiter.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Huh.
But why does he keep playing this poor old guy's tape?
Good question. Ask him that.
Bob, why do you keep playing that tape?
Funniest damn thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is funny. Do you think that's funny?
I laughed, and Dr. Miller can attest to this, I laughed listening to it again.
Really?
Almost as hard as I did the first time I heard it.
Really? Well...
You think maybe Bob gets bored and then he puts that on to amuse himself?
I don't know. You answer that question for me.
Well, that's a theory. It's one possibility. But I don't feel duped. I came here to have a good time tonight and kind of chit-chat about people and get a chance to talk to some of you out there that I used to talk to when I had my own show here.
Yeah. Well, you had a good show, but I think you're just being duped, and I'm sorry. I just think you're...
being duped, yes.
Good opinions of things and all that
message.
Excuse me?
I said we think we got the message that you believe that Dr. Miller's being duped.
Yeah? Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. Keep listening. Apollo Beach, hi, you're on the air, WPLB.
Yeah, Dr. Miller.
Yes.
Let's see if this makes sense. When Lassiter first come to this area, and I listened to his program, I didn't like him one little bit. And the calls that I made were, nothing you say is right, and I would really get on his case.
Uh-huh.
But I became, like I told him one night, it's a long time ago, he don't remember, but I said, I've become addicted to you, bud. And then the more I listened to him, well, I'll make a long story short, he's been the cause of me changing my party, because the man is really intelligent and we really need him here. Now, what's happened lately is the fact that when some of these people have called in and zinged him, I've tried to get on right after him and zing back at his zingers.
No kidding, you've become his cheerleader.
Yeah, and I've done that, the best that I can. And as I said, we really need him. And I don't like to see people get on his case. Does that make sense?
Sure it does. If you like the man, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, I do. And I'm one of them also. Of course, he's recognizing my voice when I tell him I'm Apollo Beach. But you see, this line that we come on is the Tampa line. And I've changed my voice a couple of times, too. Not in a negative way against him, but what I've been trying to do is when he gets reeled down, and I'm telling you, like this last week, he can get reeled down. And I don't like to see that. I don't like to see him sit back like he did this week, and just sit there and say, you guys just go ahead and do what you want. Because I don't like it. It just really hurts me,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do anything I can. I'll come back and make some remark about Tammy, or one night I even read a dissertation on the book of her revivalations. I don't know whether he remembers.
Oh, yeah, I remember that call.
Well, I told him I was from Temple Terrace, and I used the deep voice and all. But the whole purpose of what I'm doing, as I said, I want to hear him laugh. I don't like to see him get upset. And so if that makes any sense to you, then it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'd say you're a good friend for him to have. You're clear about him, and you want to cheer him up when he's down, and you've certainly done a complete turnaround with how you feel about that.
100%, because as I said, I come to realize, at first, although I may have I disagreed violently with him, back in the Philippines, when we had the Philippine thing and all that, and but again, I said, this guy really makes some sense, and so now I've turned completely around, and I said, we need him here, we need Bob Lassiter to be what made him the top dog in this area. Now, it just burns me to see him sit there and just let, somebody take over the station or over his program and him say, he can't stand it. I don't like it, but I was like, well, I can only talk one time a night. I'd like to get on there and just get on all of them, which I do. Okay?
Well, I thank you very much.
Hey, Bob. Bye-bye.
Take care. You're holding up your hands, Michael. Why? Oh, okay. We have Southside Johnny next. Okay, this call is relatively long. It's about 9.5 minutes. I didn't trim this one down because this is a very complex caller. He has called me perhaps half a dozen times in the 20 months that I've been here. And, well, I won't tell you any more about the call than that. We usually go over the same thing each and every time he calls. I've dubbed him Southside Johnny because he says he's from Chicago. So we'll just listen in on Southside Johnny, and I'm really curious what you have to say about this man when we're through. Michael, if you would do the honors. Southside Johnny. From Madera Beach, hi, you're on the air at WPLP.
I'm Mr. Lassiter, Gloom and Doom Lassiter.
Oh, it's the drug dealer.
Oh, no, that's a terrible thing to say.
Oh, hell, I don't blame you for being offended by it. I'd be offended by it if I was a drug dealer and somebody called me a drug dealer.
I was out of town.
Right, you've been out of town for a long time.
Oh, yes, but
More ways than one.
I know that you're shocked. How do you feel to be in the minority with the other people that on Reagan, the senile old man, by every indication I just see, that the Times put him on the front page, who is the most liberal I can ever find, says that he come out smelling like a rose.
I don't give a damn what the Times says. I couldn't care less what the Times says.
Oh, in other words...
What, am I supposed to be impressed with what the Times says just because you're impressed with what Spotlight says?
Oh, but you and your little minorities, your little guys...
Well, you see, fella, there's your problem. It doesn't bother me to be in a minority. The only thing I care about is being right or wrong.
Oh,
it's jerks like you who have to be in a majority. It doesn't make any difference to you whether you're right or wrong, just as long as everybody else thinks just the way you do.
Well, I could care less what anybody... I don't care about... I'm not a...
Oh, I know you don't care about people. I appreciate that. I mean, we know that because you have been a drug dealer for years and years and years.
You never said that.
I know you didn't say it, but it's what you are.
Oh, no. See, you put words in...
No, I don't put words in anybody's mouth. You're a dope dealer.
In a car
dealer. You're a dope dealer.
Oh, see, I've been a car dealer.
No, you haven't been a car dealer. You're at a bar in the south side of Chicago. You're a dope dealer.
Well, now, how does that, the 63rd and Cottage Grove, the place that I ran the bar, was a very ethical place.
Right, real ethical. Selling dope.
I wouldn't have let you in there.
Uh-huh. I wouldn't have gone in there.
Well, no, the way you look, I guess not.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I just want to know, how come you don't want to answer the poor senile...
I did answer, sir.
You didn't answer.
Yes, I did. It doesn't bother me to be in a minority.
Oh, you... but...
I mean, if you can buy such inane things as, well, the Iranians made a very strong pitch indicating that they were no longer interested in terrorism, and I believed it. I mean, if you can buy that kind of stuff and think that's coming out smelling like a rose, then you go right ahead. There's obviously nothing that anybody could do to reason with you.
Well, not with me. How about reasoning with me? People like you and your followers that are inane, people that are working in their 30s and 40s on minimum wage.
Yeah.
When you were on your crusade, people like you that went bankrupt or deadbeats, you are wanting to impress people that you're something. Anybody that comes up here as you by your own...
No. Hey, Bozo. I'm not the one that comes. I'm not the one that comes on the air and tries to tell people how wealthy I am. So to prove that I'm
one
smart.
That tries to impress your people.
Yes, sir. I impress people with my intellect.
Intellect.
Not with a dissertation. Not with a dissertation of my worldly goods, as though that's supposed to mean something.
You're the one that you constantly bowl people over with your voice. Constantly.
Yes,
if I, in my 40s, would come up here like you said you did, in 18 months, you're flat ass broke and you're living out of your car until you got your job here at your station, and you're living hand to mouth. How come you're not down there really helping those damn stupid homeless people and all that crap? You have never done a thing. But
you have no idea what I've done. First of all, you have no idea what I've done.
I know what you've done. I went out of my way to find out. You
went out of your way to find out.
You know, that Catholic broad, I talked to her about you, and you haven't done doodly twat to even emphasize. You talked about her good. So I've acquired one thing. You're a real...
AIDS, I hope.
You're a con artist. You talk a big stick, but you do nothing. You do nothing. You just talk. Which I can't blame you there. You're making a buck.
Don't you wish you could talk?
Hey, I talked very well. I'm 65.
Why don't you start now?
I'm 65. I travel good. I live good. I don't think
Too bad you don't
do
talk
as well,
good.
Bucko. I don't think you'll do as well.
No, you hope I won't do as well.
Oh, I could care less. See,
What do you mean you could care less? You lay awake at night worrying about me.
That's
Give me
the
a
other
break.
thing that bugs me about you. You seem to think that people worry. The only thing that bugs me with you, your conceit and the way you lead.
I know it bugs you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I compare you to Jim Baker. Like I said today, Jim Baker had these dumb-ass people that followed him, and you get the same low class. Oh, you get a few failures that are...
I know I got you, don't I?
Oh,
Got you hooked, baby. You wouldn't miss one of these shows for nothing.
Oh, I'm gone most of the time.
Right, I know you're gone, but nonetheless you're there listening.
How it went last night. I just know that, I would have loved to heard what, I bet you berated President Reagan. You really put him down. And you try to put us guys to try to make a buck on the poor man. You know, we try to make a buck, but I'm not a hypocrite. I could care less about these homeless people.
Two-faced liar.
Less about them. But
you don't have the intelligence to be a hypocrite. You're just a common liar.
I'm not
a degree of intelligence, you say, to be a hypocrite. To be a hypocrite, you have to say one thing and do another, and you couldn't possibly do two things at once.
Well, now say what you're meaning. I will bet. I've always been a gambler, and I'm not a fraud. I can say and I can back up anything I say.
Right.
So what are you saying that I'm a fraud? What is it that I'm a fraud at?
Didn't say you were a fraud. I said you're a common liar.
Well, how am I a liar? Just tell me.
We've tripped you up at least a half dozen times in your phone calls to this radio station.
Well, you see, you're being evasive with me now.
Oh, I'll give you two examples right off the top of my head. Your $18,000 a year gardener that you don't pay $18,000 a year to, and the number of times you have come out to see me.
See, now you're going back and saying, no, my yard man, and I didn't say a gardener, my yard man.
Mm-hmm.
That was during when the seawall went down, and I will admit, it really blew my mind because my insurance don't cover my damn seawall.
Aww,
it broke my heart. I had to pay it. But, no, other than that, no, my yard man is only, 100 times 12 is $1,200 a year.
Of course, you told us 18,000, not once, but twice.
It cost the 18,000 was the seawall. Well, now...
See what I mean, common liar?
Oh, that's not a lie. You're the one that does all the crap. You get all these people thinking that you're so...
I know. Isn't that terrible? You really are upset that I get people thinking, aren't you?
Your body, your own self. You can't control your weight. You can't control the fact that you smoke. You obviously hide your face because of that stupid beard. You're overweight. You just don't have it, except you've got a terrific God's gift.
But there's one thing I do have, you know?
Oh, you got
There's one thing I do have, and you know what that is?
What?
The ability to sucker people like you to listen to me night after night after night, and then I have another ability, and that's the ability to sucker people like you into calling up so I can rip them to shreds and make fools of them.
You haven't ripped me to thread, Bucko. You know that because you don't have anything. I want to see what you're going to do. You probably won't be there. You're going to be bumping that 50 mark and 55 mark, and then you're going to realize what you're talking about. Then you're going to bleed a little bit, Bucko. Then you're going to...
Keep dreaming, baby.
But I had mine made when I was in my 40s.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Well, you're going to realize
Yes, by selling dope.
Oh, no, you're saying that. I'm not saying that.
I know you're not saying it. You keep denying it, but nonetheless you sold alcohol, which is a narcotic.
Well, my
sold
God.
Misery and pain to people. Deliberately sold misery and pain to people. I wonder how many women were beat up by men that you sold dope to? I wonder how many children were abused by people that you sold dope to. I wonder how many people were thrown out of their homes or their apartments who spent their rent money on the dope that you were selling. I wonder how many.
Oh, you're really good. Oh, you're really going to work up a good program tonight till 9 o'clock and using me as the crutch of it. But, you know, that's really ridiculous because there's no truth to that at all. I'm a highly respected citizen, and I pay my taxes.
Yes, those I've been boasting.
They only caught me twice, and I'm 65, and that's pretty damn good.
Only caught you doing what twice?
On reneging on my income tax.
Oh, you're an income tax cheat, too.
Oh, yeah, I'll put that on. I paid. Oh, did I pay?
Sure, when you got caught.
Well, sure. There's no question about it. But I'm on. See,
highly respected citizen,
like you are.
On top of being a dope dealer, you're a thief.
Oh,
stealing from the people.
The way they are. What are you? You're just a guy behind a microphone that tries to play the point of God, and these idiots call up and say, "Oh, God, Bob, oh, how you are so smart. You're so educated." And you're just a dummy behind an AM station that a guy like me, that is his boredom at 65, gets a real charge. I really get a kick out of you. I have no anger with you. If I met you sometime, I'd even get a kick out of. I'd buy you a drink.
No, you wouldn't.
Man, your propensities, though, would never have a drink or anything.
Not with you.
Oh,
I'm very selective with who I drink with.
Well, I would look down on you too.
Rather drink with a wild swine than drink with you.
Now you talk about people that throws bad derogatory remarks. Look what you're doing, throwing at me, and you have no idea about me. You don't.
Sure I do. You've told me all about it yourself. You're a liar, a dope dealer, and a thief.
Oh, I never told you any such thing. You're lying and you're twisting things.
I'm not twisting anything. You're just getting caught up in the web, baby.
Oh, no.
Come into my parlor, said the spider to the fly.
Okay, my friend. I say that very, very, very laxadocious. Let's put it that way.
The way you say everything.
Well,
why don't you try to put your teeth in the next time before you call, huh?
Well, your day will come, bucko. And as fat as you are, they will... Their gums.
Well, you know something? You're absolutely right about my being fat. I am incredibly overweight.
Control over your body.
I am just incredibly overweight. I am miserably fat.
How come you don't have control?
But
you don't stop.
You are obnoxious. Tomorrow I'm going to go on a diet. What are you going to do? St. Peter, Southside Johnny.
Southside Johnny's quite a guy. He sounds like he has some pretty easy morals, so he could pretty well justify anything he's done over his lifetime. I don't know.
Do you believe him? Do you think he's what he purports to be, a retired, successful former businessman?
I would guess that maybe he had a bar or worked in a bar as a bartender. If you ever pay much attention to what goes on in bars, there's not very much truth spoken between people. Everybody has an $18,000 gardener or whatever, and they all have property in Bermuda and all kinds of things like that. People really work overtime at impressing each other. So I guess he may have been in that environment for a long time and could pretty much compete with the others on that level.
A couple of people tonight that you've listened to have tried to get me with my weight. I'm overweight. No two ways about it. I've always admitted to it. It's kind of hard to hide. Whalebone corsets are very difficult to find these days. It obviously doesn't bother me. Why do they keep trying?
Well, it's one thing they can point to that's not right, not perfect, and most people who are overweight are uncomfortable about it, so they can assume that you are. I think it'd be unusual for somebody not to be uncomfortable about it in our weight-conscious society. So they probably figure it's a way to nail you, just like your beard or anything else.
Does not, or do not, these people, did not Southside Johnny realize that for 10 minutes, really slightly over 10 minutes, he was just constantly being hit over the head?
No, I don't really think he did. He seemed to have trouble making his point, and he had trouble following you. And I don't think he really knew exactly always how much you were getting to him. I mean, he would clearly try to fight back, but I really didn't think that he got most of what you were saying.
Is there a pattern that is developing in these calls? We've heard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them now. Is there a pattern?
Somewhat. All these people want to hear themselves. They feel that they have something very definite to say, and they all want to say something to you personally. It becomes very personal. Yet they're different in how bright the people are, how verbally skilled they are, and probably how well they can defend what points they're trying to make. But I would say they're all very much personally wanting to take you on.
Michael, are we set up for the bowler? The first one on the tape tonight? Mr. Jerk, whatever. We're not set up for that yet? Okay. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we will talk with the bowler. 10:33, the time at News Talk 57 WPLP. I'm Bob Lassiter. My guest in studio, clinical psychologist Dr. Lois Mueller. Dr. Mueller, we are getting an unbelievable number of off-air hate calls tonight.
You say we, is that you and me?
We the station. I'm sure they're not for you. I haven't really had a chance to talk with Michael, my producer, to find out what they're saying, but I can see them coming in and going.
Uh-huh.
Why is that?
I would guess that it's kind of a thing of the anger and hate that you're playing from the old calls kind of breeds more of the same. It appeals to other people. They hear other people going after you one call after another because these are the kind of tapes you're playing, and they want to get on the act and essentially do the same thing.
Are we humiliating the people whose tapes we have played?
I wouldn't think so. I would think that they might resent being analyzed. If you can call what I'm doing analyzing, quick kind of gut reaction to what might be going on. But I don't think that most of what I'm saying is likely to put them down or humiliate them. I would think they'd like hearing themselves, but probably would like to call and defend themselves.
Is there any value to what we're doing, or is this just pure entertainment?
I see it as pure entertainment.
Do you mind being used as an entertainer?
I don't consider myself being used.
Okay, because I look at your resume here. It is extremely impressive. And here I've brought you in to...
duped me as one of your callers.
Yeah, right. I've duped you into coming in, and we're just having some fun. Are we having fun?
I'm having fun. That's why I came to do the show tonight. I have to be serious all day long.
But there are apparently an awful lot of people out there who don't think this is fun, judging from those hate calls off the air. Why would that be? Why can't they see what we're doing?
They may feel a lot like the callers that you're taping and playing tonight. And those people may be fairly serious, that they don't like what you say, or they don't like you personally, or they may not like me and what I'm saying. And I think that they don't have that sense of humor. They don't have that distance to stand back and be a little bit objective and say, well, this is just a show to kind of play the funny tapes or the angry tapes or whatever. They see it as very serious business.
Question about Lassiter. I'm not trying to be self-serving, but a lot of what we've heard tonight is really funny. And a lot of it is funny because of what the callers say. A lot of it's funny because of what I say. But what I'm doing, it could also be interpreted as somewhat cruel by some people. Do you see it as cruel?
The only thing that I would see as cruel would be, as I said earlier, when you go for the jugular, when you know you have a sense of or an instinct for what is the person's weak spot. Let's say they don't have friends, and you go for that. I think that's more cruel than calling the person names, because that's kind of a back and forth give and take thing. You both call each other names. It doesn't really mean much. People laugh at it. But I think probably the harshest thing you do is when you really go after that one or two things that they're embarrassed about or that they'd rather never have you know. I don't know if you always know that you're doing it. Do you?
Excuse me. I've done it maybe 3 or 4 times, and only with people that I've talked with on the air previously. People who usually tend to annoy me. And yes, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing, and it is an instinctive thing. And you catch on that when people call you at 9:30, 10:30 at night in and night out, regardless of the weather, regardless of the season. but they are probably sitting there alone. And yes, it's to basically try to get rid of them, to see if I can hurt them, if I can drive them away.
Really?
Yeah, we don't need this one anymore. We've gotten all the mileage out of this that's possible.
But you don't want to drive them away permanently, just for the evening, or
No,
what?
drive them away permanently.
Really?
Yeah, so that's why I will
Does
really
it
go
work?
for it. No.
I didn't think so. You need another approach.
Well, for example, the petitioner who and his friend Jim, he's probably called me half a dozen times since then. No, it didn't work. Oh, well. Can you suggest something that might, by the way?
You might get all your listeners together into a club so they'd have each other and they wouldn't need you anymore.
Oh, joy. All right, the next call that we're going to listen to came in tonight, probably about 8:15, if memory serves me. And we just thought it was worthwhile to quickly put on the tape and to play back to you. We shall call this man the Bowler. I refer to him during the call as the Jerk, or Mr. Jerk. And it runs about 8 minutes, and it goes something like this. Michael, if you would. Why, to know, Scotty, you're on the air at WPLD.
Hello?
Hello.
Mr. Lassiter?
Yes.
Well, gee whiz, we got by your producer.
That's correct.
And how about that? And anyway, I've got this so far thing in front of me.
Great.
And got some signatures on it.
Fantastic.
Only one thing that bothers me.
What's that?
It is the sacred right of all Americans to freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
You say first of it is broadcasters, correct?
I beg your pardon?
The first of it is on broadcasters.
The first of it is on broadcast. I don't know what you mean.
Well, the first part of the statement. We, the understanding, so demand so.
Yes, that's
it's
correct.
The sacred right of all Americans to freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sir, you have not been giving us the freedom of expression. You invite us to call in. And then you cut us off.
Yes, sir.
Well, sir, last night...
Well, you see, sir, the First Amendment does not extend to talk radio. The First Amendment extends to broadcasters, newspaper publishers. It does not, there is no law under the sun.
Sacred right of all
I wasn't quite finished. There's no law under the sun, for example, that would require a newspaper to publish a letter to the editor. They do so at their own discretion. There is no law under the sun that requires me to put up with an obnoxious or a rude caller.
Uh-huh. But you can be obnoxious and I can't.
That's correct.
Well, how about that? So we do have a double standard, don't we?
If you'd like to look at it that way, yes.
Yes, sir. Well, anyway, since you're on air, and if you permit me about 10 seconds, your phone is the $3 bill.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
so you're the one that's phonies the $3 bill of the jackass, because this is the second time you've tried this one on me about I have the so far petition in front of me.
Fortunately, jackasses can't do anything with themselves. They cannot reproduce themselves. And God bless it, because the good Lord made us this way, and jackasses can't reproduce themselves. We want to have
sir, you're the phony and the jackass, because this is the second. What do you think? I don't remember the second time you tried this.
On an intellectual level, I'll go toe-to-toe you any day.
Oh,
you're a jackass and trying to make everybody jackasses around you, and God bless you, you can't be reproduced.
Sir, you're the one that sits home and listens to it every night, and you're going to go toe-to-toe with me intellectually?
Until last night, I just wondered whether or not I'm going to send in this...
Oh, give me a break. What do you mean till last night?
You got a double standard. You can do any damn thing you want.
That's right, sir.
But I can't.
That's correct.
Well, then I'm going to tear this damn thing up then, because...
Well, you were going to tear it up last week, sir. What happened?
It says here, it is a sacred right of all Americans to freedom of expression. And you invite me to call and everybody else. And all of a sudden you say, no, it is our prerogative. Broadcasters and the editor of the newspaper, you can write a letter to the editor.
Right, sir. You see, sir, Jerk,
double standard hell.
Mr. Jerk, you see...
This jerk. And your jackasses,
Mr. Jerk.
You're not going to reproduce yourself, because the people out here, the silent majority,
Mr. Jerk,
going to see. And you talk to Dr. Mueller about
Jerk.
This. I know Dr. Mueller, and let her listen to this.
Oh, she's going to. Mr. Jerk, there are two problems,
because
you see. First of all...
the biggest jerk that we got in the area.
Just lower his volume a tad, okay. You see, Mr. Jerk, there are two problems. The first is you're not reading from the petition, because that's not what the petition says.
Why don't you?
The second problem is, Mr. Jerk, is that the First Amendment protects you from the government, not from me.
Hell, we need to be protected.
You see, Mr. Jerk?
Like you.
So we already, because...
I can't talk except you let me.
That's right, Mr. Jerk. You can bring his level back up.
Mr. Jerk, Mr. Jackass, same to you. God bless you.
Sir, there ain't no God.
Oh, come on, you said last night you believe in God.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did not, sir.
Oh, somebody called you, and I listened to you for an hour and a half. I was on the way home from a big deal yesterday. I worked...
a big deal? What was it, bowling night?
Sir?
What was it, bowling night?
Oh, no, I did some things that you wouldn't do. I did some things...
What, were you out walking around in your dress?
Sir?
You said you did something that I wouldn't do. Were you out walking around in your dress and your high heels?
No. It seems that I was helping some people. That's all.
You were hopping some people?
Sure. And I'm helping you, too, you jackass. Because you need some help. You're so far out.
What do you mean I need some help? I'm the guy with a big job. You're the one that goes out bowling on Thursday night.
Job, too, helping people like you. Because the thing is, you're not really expressing yourself. You just got a show. What do you mean I just had a show?
You
have the audacity to sit there and tell me...
Number 1 rated show. Suckers people like you into listening to it every single night. I'm sitting here getting rich. You're sitting home getting mad.
No, I'm not getting mad at you being rich. I'm getting mad at the fact that you are trying to mislead people. And that you are not...
Trying to mislead people?
If you talk to Dr. Mueller, then she's going to tell you you're a good person. You really are a good person. And all we do is get out here and start yelling names at one another, and the commies going to take over because we kill ourselves.
The commies are going to take over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
now how about the Trilateral Commission? You worried about them too?
About who?
The try to read my lips. The Trilateral Commission.
Absolutely.
I figured.
Absolutely.
David Rockefeller?
The other aspect of it. That's the other aspect. That is the group of people who've got all the buck.
What is your bowling average anyway?
My bowling average is about 200.
Aha, I told you were out bowling last night.
I didn't bowl for 20 years, 25 years.
You lie about everything.
No, sir.
You're going to dub you the liar.
Last time I bowled, I beat my brother-in-law and embarrassed him when I quit bowling because he was a professional bowler.
Oh, bro.
And I just haven't seen you in the place.
Or jackass.
But I would say you are an
acceptable... sometimes.
You're an acceptable human being.
An acceptable human being.
Physically.
Physically.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be married.
Uh-huh.
Except you got a...
How do you know? Maybe my wife likes freaks, you know?
You got a mouth just like I do.
I beg your pardon. Mine works far better than yours.
Well, you get your foot in your mouth, and so have I, and this is why I understand you so well.
Uh-huh, right.
Now we're on track.
No, we're not, sir.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
Because you see, dear sir, you let Dr. Mueller psychoanalyze you. And I know about this lady, and you're talking about one of the best.
Flag this one, Michael. I want this one on tonight.
No, I don't want to take up more of your time.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else to tell you what to do.
All right.
Okay.
Take care there.
God bless you.
Oh, brother. He says he knows you, Dr. Miller. Does he?
Well, maybe from my radio program. I don't recognize his voice.
You never heard that voice before in your life, as far as you can remember.
I can't swear to that. But I don't specialize in remembering voices. I remember problems.
What else would... I guess you'll remember that voice then from now on. What else would you have to say about the bowler?
This fellow's interesting. He's very polite, and he has a real sense of fairness. What pushes his buttons, what gets him angry is when something's unfair. And I would guess that in the past he's been misled, and he's been treated unfairly, and that's what really riles him. But he clearly basically wants to get along with you and likes you.
But he called last Friday, or Thursday, I can't remember which now, with the exact same thing. I've got the petitions here in front of me, but now I don't think I'm going to send them in. Does he really think that's getting to me?
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps. But I don't see him as really that hostile at all. I think he was surprised that you weren't going to be more fair about this double standard thing, that you can cut him off, but he can't cut you off. You can talk over him or whatever, and I think that really bothered him. He kind of left him wondering just how he's going to feel about you. But basically, the guy, I think he likes you. He likes talking to you, and aside from this fairness issue, I don't think he's really got a beef with you.
One final tape. The man that we call, we call the tape Lunch with God. Michael, if you'll do the honors. Temple Terrace, hi, you're on the air at WPLP.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know quite how to say this, but I'm equal with Jesus Christ, and that ain't good. Mr. Lassiter, I've seen God Almighty, and at age 6 in Orlando, Florida, he appeared to me with the angel wisdom.
I thought he was much older than 6.
Well, at age 6, I probably have the mentality of a 12-year-old like Christ. But he appeared to me at age 6 in a dream and said he would find my father, who was away in World War II. And then on March 5th, 1978, I saw him in person with the angel wisdom. And I've seen Michael the Archangel.
Where did that take place?
Pardon?
Where did that take place?
In San Bernardino County, California.
Uh-huh.
Heaviest rainstorm.
Oh, that's where he bought you the hamburger or something, right?
Roast beef sandwich.
Roast beef sandwich.
And I prophesied, in 1984, I
should call this guy Old Faithful. He calls once every 2 months. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I prophesied 1984 to Governor Graham that God would shut down Cape Kennedy if the penal codes weren't put in junior and senior high school. And actually, it was shut down until 1988. And but what scares the heck out of me is that I have no salvation like Christ has no salvation, because in Isaiah 44:5 it tells about 3 false saviors that were to come along and test Israel, and I'm the third one. There's been miracles in my life, and I've prophesied and they've come true, but somehow God is going to put a spirit in me, evidently, that's going to make me think I'm a savior, like what happened to Christ and Muhammad, who taught Friday was a Sabbath, and all human beings have the same seventh-day Sabbath. But what should I do? I have no salvation. I won't be resurrected because I've seen the face of God. I'm just marking time, sleeping, eating, smoking, sleeping, eating, smoking. Nobody will hire me because I'm.
Are you just a winter visitor, or do you live here year-round?
I was born in Orlando. I have family in Tampa.
You're not a winter
I've
visitor.
lived in California most of my life. In other words, take off for California.
No, I'm just curious as to whether or not you were just a winter visitor or.
No, I've been here a couple of years.
Resident.
I've been here since 1984.
Lucky us.
I had dreams to come here, so I came. And, a spirit gave me the restricted national security hotline in the White House, and I freaked out their red button. I called so many times that when they tested the system, they thought I was calling, and they gave an improper response. They talk about me in the White House. I can even call collect once in a while. But what should I do, Bob? But I'll tell you this.
You have the number for the hotline?
In the White House, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was spoken into my ear, and then they changed all the numbers, and God gave me all the new numbers. Now I guess they've quit trying to change the numbers around, and they just kind of put up with me.
Well, hey, I mean,
harmless.
If I was dealing with a crank caller like you and God kept giving you my new number, I'd give up trying to change them, too.
But I don't know what to do.
After the last time you called here, we considered changing the numbers.
You can't get away.
No.
You can't get away from it. Well, listen, I just wanted to share my grief that I'm equal with Christ because...
Oh, you shared your grief.
And I wish you well. I have more respect for God than you do, though, because I like his...
well, hell, he buys you sandwiches. He isn't, if he came down and bought me a sandwich, perhaps I'd mend my ways.
Yeah, but then that'd mean you wouldn't be resurrected. Because if you see the face of God, you die.
Well, I'd close my eyes.
And you just want a roast beef sandwich free.
That's right.
Maybe I'll send you one.
Well, it wouldn't be quite the same.
No, it wouldn't. But I've seen his face, the one who created everything.
Son of a gun.
But I have no salvation, Mr. Lassiter.
Yeah, but you got the number to the hotline.
Yeah, that's fine. That kind of keeps my life going.
And some great memories of that time that you and God had lunch.
Would you like to put out the number to the Oval Office?
Nah, I don't think I'd want to do that.
Okay.
No, I got enough trouble.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Lunch with God, Dr. Mueller.
That's quite a story. This last fellow reminds me kind of the theme that I see running through these calls, and that is a real wanting of power, wanting to be special. And if you're not special enough, then you kind of create it either through an illusion or a delusion. You pretend, your imagination gets carried away with you, but you become special somehow. And I think probably that's part of why you get the angry calls that you do. you're special here. You're the star of this show. You've got a fair amount of power. And I think a lot of the people calling you feel fairly powerless, and they want some of that. And they may resent you a little bit for having it.
Does he believe what he was telling me, or is he just kind of pulling my leg?
It's hard to tell. He sounded very, lighthearted and positive, and yet kind of admitted that was taking something to keep him going. You know, when you kidded him about having the hotline number, he said, "Yeah, well, that kind of keeps me going." I think the guy has some problems, and he was sort of admitting to that. How much he believes what he says, I don't know.
How do I handle a caller like that? Did I handle that one properly?
I think so. I think I wouldn't get down on someone who believes like he does, because you really don't know what this belief means to him or how much it's holding him together. And you don't want to destroy somebody. We all have defenses. And some people need more elaborate ones than others to make it in this world. And you don't want to push on somebody who may really be propped up a little bit by some of these beliefs.
Okay, Michael, do we have time for that one last one? Yeah, because I'm kind of losing track. All right, one final one. This is relatively short. This also came in tonight from someone I'm not really sure if I've ever talked with before, but here it goes. Swing Pete, you're on the air at WPLP.
Bob?
Yes.
Did I understand you to say that you were number 4, rated number 4, and John Eastman 2?
No, ma'am. I said John Eastman had a 2 share and I had a 4 share.
A 4 what?
Well, 4 share.
Well, I think
it's actually 4.5.
Number 4, they should be the ones that should be psychologically analyzed tonight.
Mm-hmm. You mean people like yourself?
Like you.
No, people like... No, ma'am. Ma'am, you see, it's people like you that have made me the top-rated Tampa Bay talk show host. Dr. Mueller?
Well, this lady clearly doesn't like you, and she meant business. Interesting, this is the first woman, I think, that you've had on tape, isn't it?
Yes, I had a couple of others that we just didn't get to tonight.
Uh-huh. But I think she means business. I mean, she clearly doesn't like you. She hung up on you. She didn't have anything but that to say. And obviously likes John Eastman better. I would say that of the callers you've had, she's probably meant business more than any of the others. The others want to banter with you and kind of argue it out. She wanted nothing to do with you. She just wanted to let you have it and hang on.
Hit and run ours, though.
Exactly.
But again, she listens to the show probably every single night.
Yeah. Well, you have some intelligent commentary. You present some interesting ideas, and I think people respect that.
Is it healthy for the rest of us to be amused by some of the people we listen to tonight?
Oh, I think if you're not amused, then you're pushing some mental health problems. You have to be able to laugh and have a sense of humor. If you don't have, then you have some problems.
And it isn't terribly cruel or unfair to have a good time at these poor souls' expense.
You're not feeling guilty, are you, Bob?
No, not at all. Just want to know if I should.
Yeah, I have a feeling you want me to say it's okay.
Please.
You're not really destroying these people. I guess let them answer that for you. I'm sure you'll hear from them in other calls and other shows. But I think as long as they understand that you're doing it in a lighthearted way.
Dr. Mueller, I thank you very, very much. I've had a lot of fun tonight, and I hope you have too. And perhaps we'll hear you back on the air someday with your own show.
Thank you.
Behave yourselves, everybody. Have a good weekend.